What's up, Cocopers? How y'all doing today? I have come to warn you about a potentially dangerous mindset you might have. I have been reading 2.3 live stream messages, Reddit posts, YouTube comments, and I have seen a very similar theme across all of them. A similar mindset concerning kokomi. It is so dangerous, in fact, that I can't just say it right now because it's deceptively delicious. It's a lot like how Kazuha was perceived as worse than sucrose when theory crafters were doing their calculations. Mathematically, he does provide less damage buff than a C6 sucrose if he's at C0. But what everyone failed to realize was his ease of use, how he can swirl multiple elements at the same time, and his fun factor. After all of this was discovered, his popularity took off. This situation is a lot like that. I'm going to tell you the mindset, but then I'm going to absolutely decimate it. Buckle up. And even if you don't house this mindset yourself, you should still watch the video because there is something to learn. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Nah, I'm just kidding. How many of y'all skipped ahead, huh? Can't let a brother make some money? Geez, start the video. It basically stems from Main DPS kokomi versus sub-dps kokomi. How should you play them? Here's the thought process. If I play kokomi as a support and not a main DPS, I play kokomi as a support, not a main DPS. I understand this new set increases main DPS kokomi capabilities, but it sucks for support kokomi. My 4-piece tenacity of the Millilith is better than dog Ocean Hued Clam because a permanent 20% attack buff on all of my DPS characters is more than 15,000 damage every 3.5 seconds. Now, this isn't wrong, right? It seems logical to think buffing your hypercarry teammates, or any of your other 3 teammates all at the same time indefinitely with 20% attack is more worth than investing into kokomi, potentially dealing up to 15,000 damage every 3.5 seconds. It doesn't seem wrong, but it's incredibly short-sighted. It misses the massive problem this new set is trying to address. The fact that using resources on characters who overheal is effectively worthless because damage is just more important. You need to clear the Spiral Abyss faster. It's just more efficient to farm artifacts if you can clear the domains faster. If you play in co-op and one person's not doing a lot of damage, despite the fact that enemies have more HP and deal more damage, the domain takes even longer than if you tried to do it alone. I mean, damage, just give me more damage! It doesn't sound like that bad of a concept, and using resources on characters who just heal, this just isn't that useful. Or is it? The first reason this mindset is short-sighted is similar to the Kazuha case. You see, this is not around 15,000 damage every 3.5 seconds. Oh, I should probably clarify. The reason it's 15,000 damage and not max bubble damage, which is 27,000, is because these support kokomis are not staying on the field during the 10 seconds to max out the healing of the bubble. Rather, they're just using their elemental skill. Their elemental skill ticks 2 times, and within those 3 seconds, they can get up to 90% of whatever healing it is, and it will probably average around 15,000. That's why it's not max bubble. Now, back to my point. But this is still not 15,000 damage every 3.5 seconds. It's actually 15,000 times the number of enemies hit every 3.5 seconds. You have to remember, this damage is AoE. Think about it. Xingqiu is a 6-star character for his off-field damage, but his damage is single target. Against 4 fat, tanky opponents, he is lacking. But kokomi with this set will deal 15,000 times 4, which is actually 60,000 damage. Think about Yoimiya. It turns out Yoimiya ended up being a very great DPS character, but she still falls a little bit behind Hu Tao simply because she's a bow user. Her auto attacks do a lot of damage, it's pyro damage as well, but it's single target, and Hu Tao simply being able to swing her spear and hit multiple enemies at the same time makes her a little bit more valuable, and that's kind of what this set is addressing. In theory, 15,000 might not seem like a lot, but just like in Kazuha and Yoimiya's case, in practicality, we're not dealing with single target damage, but AoE. There is a second reason this mindset is short-sighted. If you have 4-piece tenacity, it is unlikely your Koko has high-level talents. After all, what's the point of leveling up your elemental skill or burst if her purpose is an attack buff bot? Using resources on making her heal more is less worth than using those same resources on dealing more damage on another character. I mean, come on. And this resource allocation preference is what this set is challenging. With tenacity, you are punished every time you level up Kokomi's talents. Your buff is not tied to her talents. Thus, you don't need to level up her talents. And then when your skill doesn't heal that much, you can perhaps correctly conclude, in your opinion, that Kokomi sucks. Despite the fact that Kokomi's elemental skill scales really well and heals a lot more per level, it's not really worth to level it up if you have a 4-piece tenacity because it doesn't increase your damage. This set changes that. Every time you level up her talents, you are both leveling up her healing and the artifact bubble damage. Not only are you no longer being punished, but you're actually being rewarded. The more you heal, the more damage you do. Now, through more investment, your Kokomi can heal up to 10,000 per tick if you're an absolute madman and have a massive cock. And you will be rewarded with 90% of whatever that number is times the amount of enemies around you every 3.5 seconds, despite never having her on the field for more than half a second. This set is valuable for both sub-DPS and main DPS Kokomi. Another mistake you can make is thinking that your 4-piece Heart of Depth with perfect substat distribution is still good enough. It is not. Depending on your investment, this set can provide you up to a 30% DPS increase, regardless of how good your artifacts are. It is that good. In fact, this DPS increase is similar to Kokomi's C1, which takes 30% of her max HP and deals it as extra damage after her 3rd hit. But this set is even better. It's even better than her C1 because it's AoE. Her C1 is single target. As a main DPS, Kokomi receives full value of this set, and it's even better than her C1. It's actually a complete game changer for both Kokomi, Chi-Chi, Barbara. All of these characters are fundamentally going to change after this set comes out. And no matter how you play your Kokomi, I recommend you farm this set.